So for here, we have 70 students in the school band. 40% of them are 6th graders, 20% are 7th graders, and the rest are 8th graders. So we want to find out how many are in 6th, how many are in 7th, and what percentage of them are going to be 8th grade. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a tape diagram to find out this information. So the tape diagram needs to be able to show a representation of 100%. So that means all this information from here to the very, very end is considered to be 100%. It also needs to be able to show all this information from here to the very end is calculating 70 students. Okay, so the tape diagram needs to be able to show 100% as well as just show 70 students. So it shows a percentage and it shows the number of students. I'm going to go ahead and split this up nice and equally into 7 boxes, because if I do 7 boxes, I know that each box is worth, not 7 boxes, 10 boxes. If I do 10 boxes, each box is 10%, and that means each box is 7 students. It splits up nicely, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's my 10 boxes. Again, each box is worth 10%, so that means the first box is 10%. If I have 2 boxes, it's 20%, then 30%, 40%, 50%, 60, 70, 80, 90, all the way up to 100%. Inside each box, again, if I take 70 and divide it amongst 10, that means each box is worth 7. So I'd have 7, then I have 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49. Then we're going to have 56, then we'll have 63, and then 70. It goes all the way up to our 70. So the very first question was asking me how many band members are there. So I know that are 6th grade. How many 6th grade band members? I know that there's 40% that are 6th grade. So I'm going to identify 40%. That means I'm highlighting those first 4 boxes. Those first 4 boxes are going to get highlighted as 40%. How many people is that then? How many 6th graders? 28, right? For 6th grade, there's 28 students. 6th grade is going to equal 28 students. Now, if I were to work that out as a proportion, remember a proportion is going to be X over the whole, which is 70 students in the band, equals my percent over 100. It helps if you take the notes, Saskia. Okay. Then all we would have to do is our cross product. We would multiply 70 times 40 and then divide it by the 100. We would still get 28. So it doesn't matter whether you do the tape diagram or you do a proportion, both answers will come out to 28. If I'm looking at my second question wants to know the number of 7th graders. 7th grade is 20%. So if I highlight only 20%, how many students represents 20%? 14. So for 7th grade, I'm going to get 14 students. And again, I can set up a percent proportion. I can say X over 70 is now equal to 20% over 100. I'm still going to get the same answer when I do my cross product. Now, I don't need a proportion for my last one. All it's asking is what percentage is 8th grade. If 40% is going to be 6th grade, and then another 20%, so another 2 boxes, it's going to be 6th grade, then how many boxes is left for 8th grade? 4. So what percent is that? 40%. Okay? Let's go on to number 2. Jada has a monthly bill for her cell phone, a monthly budget. She spends 120% of her budget. So she went over budget, didn't she? She has 120% is what her last bill cost. She was 120% of her budget. That's over her budget. And her bill was $60. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to create a tape diagram that still represents $60, but it also represents this time 120% instead of 100%. So this tape diagram is going to represent 120% and it's also going to represent $60. So I'm going to go ahead and divide this up by 6 boxes. Okay, if I divide this up by 6 boxes, then that means that each of these boxes is going to be worth 20%. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100%, and then that 120%. That means that each of these boxes is going to be worth $10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and $60. So now the question wants to know, what is Jada's monthly budget? What percent will represent her monthly budget? 120% is her going over her budget. What percent represents her monthly budget? How much she's willing to spend? What do we say percents are always out of, guys? 100. So her monthly budget is just 100%. So here, this calculates 100%. What is her monthly budget? $50. $50 is her monthly budget. She went over her budget, which is why she had $60. Now, if we set it up as a percent proportion, we know how much she spent. We know she spent $60. We did not know what her budget was, what her whole was supposed to be, but we do know that that's 120% out of 100. So we know X is going to need to be smaller. So then we'll do our cross product, and you'll get the same thing. You will get that X is going to be equal to 50. Once you perform that cross product, which I'm not going to go over exhaustively because we've done this over and over again. Okay, our last one. Last month, Ed spent $50 in all. In all means what percent? In all means what percent? 100. He spent $50 in all. That represents his total. That represents 100%. So we're going to set up our tape diagram to showcase that this is 100% and that this is also $50. My tape diagram is going to represent 100% and it's going to represent $50. How many boxes can I easily split this up in? Huh? We could do 10. Sure. You want to do 10 boxes? Here, we'll do that. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so if I split this up into 10 boxes, what percent is each box worth? If I split it into 10 boxes, what percent is each box worth? 10%. Okay, so we have 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100%. How much money is each box worth? We've got $50. We're splitting it up by 10 boxes. How much money is it worth? $5. So we've got 5, 10, 20, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and $50. Okay. My other class, they just broke it into 5 boxes. So they did 20% for each box, and then they did $10 for each box. It's up to you. It's okay, whatever you want to do it by, as long as it's consistent. Okay, now the question is asking for 40%. We're just focusing on 40%. How many boxes represents 40%? How many boxes? 4 boxes, right? 4 boxes represents 20%. How much money is that? 20. That would be $20. So now let's check it with our percent proportion. X over 50, because that was our whole, equals our percent, 40 over 100. If we do our cross product, we multiply 50 times 40, and then we divide it by that 100, we're going to get that X is equal to $20. Again, either way will work for you. Either one of these will work for you. Go ahead and flip it on over to the back. So I'm going to go through these quickly because I kept saying it over and over and over again how to set this up. First thing that I need to identify though is my total cost. So what do I do with all this information here? Add it together. So when I'm trying to figure out my whole cost, I first need to add each of these together. I need to do $8.50 plus $6.25 plus $2.65, and that's going to come out to $17.40. That is my subtotal. Remember I told you guys before that your part with these percent problems is always going to be missing. Your tax, your tip, your discount, your commission, your markup, those are always the values that are missing right now. That's the ones we're dealing with. So that's going to be our X. And then your percent is going to be your percentage. Our percentage in this case is 25%. Now, they only want to know how much the server is going to make. Does the server get anything of this $17.40? No. That goes to who? The owner, right? The restaurant, the owner. Goes to them. That's their cost that they get. You pay that, but you also pay tip. Tip is what goes to your server. So you're just trying to find your tip. That's it. So we're going to have X over 1740. Somebody wake Askia up so he'll stop snoring. Then we're going to put 25 over 100, and then we'll cross product it. Askia, if I need to have you stand up, I will. Put your head up. We're going to do 100 times the X, that's 100X. $17.40 times 25, that's going to come out to $435. And then all we have to do from there is divide. So you get X is going to be equal to $4.35. That's how much you're going to tip your server. That is the cost that you are giving to your server. All right, Bill's purchasing a new phone, $899, sales tax is 7.5%. Same exact process. We're going to do our part, which is X, over our whole, which is $899, equals our percent, which is 7.5 out of 100. We're going to do our cross product. We'll get 100X is now equal to 6,742.5. Stop playing. We're then going to divide both sides by 100, and then when you properly round, you're going to find out that your tax is $67.43. That represents your tax. The question's asking how much is he going to spend on his phone. What do I do with that information? You add it. Tax is something extra that you pay. Remember, tax and tip get added onto your cost. Discounts are the only thing that gets subtracted from your cost. So you're then going to take your $899 and you're going to add your $67.43. That's going to come out to your total cost. That's $966.43. Problem number 6. Charlie is purchasing a camera. He can either get it from Target or Walmart. We want to figure out which one's the better deal. If it's a better deal, it's cheaper. Better deal means that it won't cost you as much. So Target is selling it for $250, but they have a coupon for $100 off. Walmart is $230, but they have a coupon for 40% off. Notice there's a difference between dollars and percents. With dollars, I can just go ahead and subtract. With the percent, I have to figure out what that is as money, and then I can subtract. So Target, that's easy to find out right now. Oh, let me do it in pink. For Target, I just take the $250 and I subtract the $100 off. So Target's going to charge $150. For Walmart, that's something different. This is something I have to set up differently. So Walmart is going to be in orange, Target was in pink. With Walmart, I have to first convert this percentage into dollars. So that's why I have to do X over 230 equals 40 over 100. And then do my cross product. So that's going to give me 100x is equal to 9,200. And then I can divide by 100. And I'm going to get x is equal to $92. That means it's $92 off. It doesn't mean it costs $92. It means that you've now changed 40% into a dollar amount. That's how much you can take off. So from there, for Walmart, you've got $230 minus the $92. So Walmart's only going to charge $138. That means Walmart's the better deal. All right, Becky's a real estate agent. She earns 2.5 commission on a property. She sells a home for $575,000. We want to know what is her commission earnings. So again, guys, notice it's the same setup every time. It is the same setup every time. So those of you who are going to sit here and go, I don't understand how to do this, it's because you're not following the same setup every single time. Do my cross product. That's going to give me 100x is equal to 1,437,500. And then I just have to divide by 100. So this realtor, she's going to make $14,375 off of that one house that she sold. That's her commission. It's the same setup every single time. Take a look. X over whole equals percent over 100. X over whole, percent over 100. X over whole, percent over 100. X over whole, percent over 100. It's not deviating from that. Make sure you understand this. Any questions? All right. Go ahead and go to the next page. We're going to go ahead and start on multi-step percents. These were just single-step percentages that you were supposed to do. You now have multi-step percents. Put a star next to the first tip in tax bullet. This star is representing that these are easy setups. If you've got tip and you have tax, it's a very easy problem to solve because all you have to do is add the percents together. That means if you've got 6% tax and 20% tip, you've got 26% that you're working with. And then you work it like a normal problem. X over whole equals percent over 100. Those are easy. Put a star next to the discount one. This is not hard, but it's long. It is a long 4-step process. 4 steps. Step 1, you got to convert the discount percentage into discount money. Step 2, you got to subtract discount money from your total. It creates a new total. Step 3, you got to convert your tax percent to tax money using your new total. Step 4, you add new total and tax. It's 4 steps, but it's the same process the whole time. Okay? So make sure you are following along with these. Let's take a look at problem number 1. For problem number 1, we're going to have a $15 lunch. We have tax is 5% and tip is 15%. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my percent tip and tax. So that means I'm going to add 15% plus 5%, which is going to come out to 20%. This is the percentage that I'm going to use for my problem. And how do I always set it up? I set it up as X over the whole equals the percent, which is 20 now, over 100. Same process over and over and over again. We'll do our cross product to solve. We're going to have 100x is equal to 300. We would then just go ahead and divide both sides by 100. And we're going to get that x is going to be $3. This $3 represents tip and tax. That is tip and tax combined. Some of it represents the tip, some of it represents the tax, but all together it's $3 for tip and the tax. What do I do with that amount now? If I want to know how much it's going to cost James, what do I do? Is he only paying $3? What else is he paying? The $15. He bought lunch. We already know what his 15% and his 5% are as money. It's $3 total. So we need to add those together. Guys, these are basic concepts. As you get older and you want to go out to eat, this is a basic concept. You got to pay for your lunch and you got to pay tip and tax. You got to combine those together. It's going to be $18 total cost for him for the lunch. Again, all you're doing is adding your 2% together and then working it out like it's 1%. Problem 2, that's a little bit more difficult because it's a discount and tax. It's a discount and tax. So you have 4 steps that you need to work through. So go ahead and divide your paper into 4 columns. Divide your paper into 4 columns. Step 1, as I said before, you're going to find your discount. Find the money amount of your discount. Step 2, you are going to subtract. Step 3, you are going to find your money version for your tax using your new total. Step 4, you are going to add. So let's start with step 1. We're going to find the money version of our discount. That means we're using this percentage right here because that represents how much is going to be coming off. So we're going to have X over 650 equals 20, which is your discount, over 100. I'm not using that 8% yet. I'm only using that 20% because that represents the amount off. I'm going to do my cross product. Do I need to show you guys how the cross product works anymore? Can we just skip on? Okay, because you guys should know by now. Multiply, multiply, divide. That's it. Multiply the diagonals, then divide, and you're done. So you are going to get that X is equal to $130 off. It was 20% off. 20% is $130 off. So now we go on to step 2. We're going to subtract. We're going to take what was originally our total of $650 and we are going to subtract our $130 off. And that's going to come out to $520. This represents our new total. That represents our new total. From there, we're now going to do our same percent proportion, but now instead of 650, we're going to do it out of 520. We're finding the tax out of our new total. So that's our new whole. And it's going to represent 8% out of 100, because that 8% represents our tax. You then do your cross product, and you're going to find out that X is going to represent $41.60. That's your tax. From there, you just add your tax and your new total. So we're going to take our $520 and we're going to add our new total, or sorry, our tax. So our $41.60 is going to get added together. That comes out to $561.60. That's your final answer. Again, it's not a difficult process because it's the same thing over and over and over again. It's just lengthy. It's long. It's a long process. Long doesn't necessarily mean difficult. Okay? You're just you're just mimicking the same process over and over and over again. Any questions? Let's flip it on over to the back. I'm going to do problem 3 and 4 with you real quickly, so that way you have time to work for your quizzes. You're going to have homework tonight, but I'm being nice and I'm giving you 3 attempts instead of 2. I will give you 3 attempts instead of 2 attempts. That means that if you still have a low grade for the second attempt, you get a 3rd try. All right, let's take a look. Askia, sleeping with your head up is still sleeping. Open your eyes, my darling. Problem 3. Lynn went out for dinner. The bill is $85. The final bill, we want to know the final bill if she tips 25% and tax is 7%. Remind me again, what am I going to do if it's tip and tax? What do I do with those 2 percentages, Bridget? Add them. Thank you. We are just going to add 25% plus 7%. That means I'm dealing with, not a dollar sign. I'm dealing with 32%. I'm dealing with 32%. And now I just set it up. X over 85 equals 32 over 100. You do your cross product, and when you're done, you're going to find out that X is going to be equal to $27.20. Now, they want to know what's the final bill. How do I figure out the final bill? What am I supposed to do with that information? Come on, guys, you go to the restaurant. How are you going to figure out how much total you're going to pay? Add them up. That's it. Add it to the meal. You're paying your tip and your tax. You're paying your bill. Add them together. I don't know if you're sleepy or if you are not understanding. Goodness gracious. Oh, still need to know how to do it though. Okay, when we add them together, it's $109.20. That's your total bill. That's how much tip and tax there is. That's how much your total bill is. Okay, problem 4. A jacket was originally $65.49. It's on sale for 30% off, 5% tax. What's the final cost? Again, we're going to set up our steps. Step 1, we got to find the discount. So X over $65.49 equals the discounted percent. What's the discount percent? What percent is our discount? Say it louder. Speak up. 30%. 30% is how much is coming off. 30 over 100. You're going to cross product it. you're going to get that your X, if you round it correctly, because you have to round, it's going to be $19.65 off. You have to round correctly. Step 2. Step 2, you have to subtract. So we're going to take the $65.49. We're going to subtract the $19.65. We got to subtract those. That's going to come out to $45.84. That is your new total. That's the new price of the jacket. Step 3, you got to find your tax now. X over new total, $45.84, equals your percent over 100. And then you're going to cross product it. That's going to give you how much you're paying for tax, which is $2.29 when you round it correctly. That's your tax. And then step 4, you just add it on. You take your new total, which was $45.84, and you're going to add your $2.29. Okay, we're not going to do problem 5. Go ahead and get into your computer.